Okay, in light of some of the comments that I got from a few of these globe zealots, I had to come out with some of these pictures. Now, these pictures have been enhanced. Some of them you'll see twice, but I used some footage. The video is only about 15-minute long, folks, so bear with me. Some of these pictures I probably could have did away with, but um, I wanted to show them just to kind of show how things are obviously changing due to either how much light, weather conditions, how much haze is in the air. This is a good one. A lot of haze. Got everything kind of hidden. Um, and then I'm going to go into um, this little bit of footage right here. This was on um, a day where there was a lot of haze in the air. You'll see here where actually I get good visibility because with this haze comes this magnification. Magnification is happening on the land here in front of you. Plus, there is some mirroring also, which actually gives you the appearance that things are being cut off. But the farther distant tower is getting magnified even more. And watch how the weather conditions, the amount of evaporated water in the air, hides it, and then it pops back out. Amount of light, angle of light, all these things all play a role. And when you have combinations of these effects, they affect things differently, especially distant objects. Literally can hide it. And I got some good examples. Um, but what I wanted to say too is most of the pictures that you'll see here are taken from the observation deck up on the upper portion of it. It's not very high. It's a short observation deck. Everybody that's familiar with my work knows that that observation deck isn't very high. But obviously, you can see here how things want to just kind of vanish out of your sight, be hidden within that density of the air. Here's a good one here because you can't really see the power plant. And then it comes into visibility. This was a time lapse. It comes into visibility because we have a break in the weather um, or visibility limits. They change dramatically in the summer months. In the winter months, not so often. And that's why in the winter months, I don't get so much of this mirroring. And you'll see here with this next time lapse, it's a much clearer time lapse. I don't have as much of the distorted edge as I did on the other one. I am a little more zoomed in on this one, but again, not quite um, um, the same visibility limits. And visibility limits do play a role in how far you can see because if you research what visibility limits are and what causes them and everything, then you would understand why you get distortion. Um, it's not bad photography. It's not being out of focus. It's just basically weather conditions. All right, I'm going to be using a portion of this in the future, but I went up to the three islands that are north of me, closer to Crystal River Power Plant, and that's what I've been filming here is the Crystal River Power Plant. And as you notice, behind these islands there is land, and I want you to note that because in some future videos I'll be using this to show how I do see this land, which is farther away than all the islands. But also look at the different appearance of the power plant when I'm standing up in my boat, 5 feet tall, um, and I'm 4 miles closer, almost 5 miles closer to these islands than I am from Pine Island Park, where I'm actually doing most of these pictures and filming from. Again, here's a few pictures that I took while I was up there too, give you an idea what it looks like. And I'm almost on that same angle too, but you got to remember, the closer I get, all the angles will change no matter how you look at it. Um, and here's some more pictures from on top of the deck. Obviously, I'm up on top of the deck, and that's why I wanted to show these. Um, but you'll notice as I zoom in here, that sign you can see. I'm well above the sign that's out there. Here, I'm zooming in a little bit at a time. That's one of the things too is I've done a lot of research on this, and I've got a lot of footage, videos, pictures, time lapses that I wanted to share and show you all the different effects that you get due to this. Um, well, I'm going to say water. Water in the air. The more water you got in the air, the more magnification you get, the more mirroring effect you get. I think some of the mirroring effect is also caused by angle of light, but you've got this magnification effect that occurs. Like I said, it actually magnifies things up, down, and side to side. It magnifies them in all directions. So the farther object gets magnified downward, that cuts you off. And then the surface is getting magnified upwards, downwards, and more or less like stretched or compressed. It can get compressed too. Uh, People want to ask you, how do you explain compression? Well, if you ever go into a fun house and you put yourself in front of a mirror, and that's almost what you're getting is a bent magnification lens effect. And these are pictures, like I said, I took from pretty much the same location up on the deck, and you get all these different effects, and all depending on how much light is still visible, is depending on how well you get to actually see the water. But I've had some pictures where, okay, here's one night. If I would have known what I know now, I would actually have took more pictures of that power plant that particular night, because it seemed like the cold air being sucked up, or the hot air being sucked up by the storm, actually gave much better visibility. As you can obviously see, not even from a very good zoom, you can see a lot of that power plant. Like I said, I wish I would have took much closer ones. Now, these are not from the same night. This is a different night. Uh, and I might have been a little over to the left. A lot of these are coming from on top of the deck, the northeast side. I got a little corner there I like to get in and stay in that spot. Um, but every now and then somebody's there, so I got to move over, and that's another thing too. So taking some of these pictures, people bouncing around, or even some of the time lapses, people bouncing around, or if it's windy, uh, you're going to get some funky pictures. Now, I think I took most of them out, but you might still find a funky one here or there. And also too, if my camera had better um, or more pixel ratings than it does, I would probably get a lot more crisp, uh, crisp pictures. As you see, not zoomed in all the way, I get much better um, quality. So in turn, I'm putting all them pixels into a better visible range. But at full zoom, things do get distorted, mainly because of the not really mainly because of the focus, but because of the pixels. You don't have as many pixels, so you can't focus as well when you're at full zoom. But here's something funny. On the moon, when I'm videoing the moon, sometimes I can zoom in on the moon at full zoom and not even have to tweak the focus. Other times I zoom in on it and I have to tweak it quite a bit to get it actually in focus. So yes, the air, depending on how much water, does act like a lens. And again, you got to look at it like this. The further I'm looking through, or the farther I'm seeing through it, the more of a wedge effect that it's going to take. And that's what gives us that ramping up effect, which cuts the lower ends of boats off, even though they look like they're sitting perfectly in the water. And I've been trying to explain that to people, but these globers have a defense mechanism with all kinds of different excuses for all kinds of different evidence that you might provide, that have an excuse for everything. I think they have a handbook that they're given by their authorities or rulers to tell people all this bull crap just to get them to believe in the fake magical refraction, lifting things up from behind the curve and putting them flat in your face. Again, now these pictures are from on top of the deck. What would they look like at 28 inches off the water? Well, that will be in part two. Part two will probably be much longer than part one. So again, my videos are not for everybody. They're for the people that are doing or wanting to do some research. And again, I'm not the best photographer out there, but I know on days where I have good visibility, I have no problem focusing in on these towers. Days where I have bad visibility, things get distorted, things get hidden, things get uh, magnified. uh, so there's all kinds of effects that are occurring across the water. Now, the biggest thing that I've been trying to do is um, put together evidence and op, optical, um, visual observations, okay, to where you can obviously see with your own two eyes how these things are working, or try to explain them when there's combinations, because you have a combination of effects that can occur, different angles of light during all different times of the day, different times of the seasons. All of this has an effect on your visibility range. And it's not just visibility, too, that plays a role. Um, your visibility limits really do dictate your angular resolution limits. Because when I have good visibility, I don't have a problem usually with the angular resolution. But there is at times where um, even though you got good visibility and you're seeing a long distance, that mirroring effect can still occur out there on the very edge of the distant objects that you normally wouldn't see. The same thing occurs, which basically does the same thing. It pulls things down, it hides them. It doesn't, there's no magical um, forces that are actually ever lifting anything up from behind a curve and causing it to become perfectly visible within your line of sight. Only things that you can actually see are can get distorted or have an optical effect done on it. You can't take an object that's totally hidden well below the curvature of Earth and have it pop up and then have it have these effects on it. It just is unfeasible. It's really kind of a stupid thought, a stupid imagination, if you ask me, um, for anybody to even think that. Because when you go out there and you start doing these observations yourself, and put everything aside, your bias, your beliefs, and everything, and just look at it in a scientific way, you're going to see things totally different. And that's the whole thing that I want to bring forward is just observational research, uh, giving you my observations. You can use any way you like, and you can determine however you want whether or not this is fact or whether it's something that you won't accept. That's totally on you as a person. All right, thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate your time.